When you're looking for luxury in the sedan market, it's not really that hard to find because you pretty much look at the grille, find the emblem you're looking for, and pretty much call it a day. Hey, and welcome to this edition of Road Warrior. I'm your host, Grant Roberson. Now, all luxury is not created equal because after all, the bottom line can increase quite exponentially depending on what manufacturer you go with. So what I like to look for is what I refer to as the entry-level model, and Lexus does that quite well. Now behind me is the 2015 Lexus ES350, a great offering that kind of gets you up and running, let's say, in the luxury market. Now the term luxury could have a broad range, and really what does it mean? Well, it really means it comes standard with all the offerings that you could expect. Now obviously you can keep upgrading in this model and keep adding to that bottom line, but pretty much from the start it has what you need. Now Lexus knows that it can't make everyone happy, so what it has done is made the IS model pretty much its sports sedan and pretty much left the ES to the premium luxury-like issues. Now, when you look at a luxury model, this is what I'm looking for. Pretty much sleek lines, leaves a lot of that artistic impression on the drawing board and keeps pretty much the body just like you see, nice and tight with just a little bit of curves here and there, maybe keeping a little bit of stylized coupe here on the exterior just the same. Now, when you look at the numbers, what I like to see for luxury is big, and these numbers come in quite hefty, around about 193 inches overall, with the wheelbase nice and stretched at about 111. Now in comparison to the IS sibling, again what you're going to notice is that's the sport model, and where that really lies is in the traction. Now here on the ES, it's only front wheel drive, with the IS model featuring both a rear wheel drive version and the all wheel drive. Now you'll notice that obviously we had a little bit of snow that hit the area, and what I noticed is really this vehicle did just fine. That front wheel drive handled it, and of course it all comes down to the driver and the expertise behind the wheel because I took it nice and slow. Now looking at the profile from the front end, what I love on a luxury sedan really has to be the elongated front end, kind of that estate-like feel, and you see that across the board with Jaguar just the same. Really that pronounced front end sweeping down the side and giving you that kind of coupe-like styling. For a few years we, of course, on a lot of vehicles had that pronounced kind of cabin area, but really we're starting to see a lot of sleeking down here at the back end, giving you kind of an implied coupe-like feel. One thing with luxury you're going to find is really body color all the way around, minimizing rubber and kind of emphasizing class. Now what you see is body color, of course, and really just some kind of minimal chrome accents, kind of lowering the contrast on this particular body color, which I like. Now as you sweep around that front end, of course, the grille warfare I always talk about, and this Lexus really sets it off. Now we just drove the Camry Hybrid just a few weeks ago, and maybe there's a little bit of styling cues there as this similar front end mimics what we saw in the Camry. Of course, the Lexus does it even better, and what you see is this zigzag pattern just like we saw in the Camry. That one had a black insert, this one a little bit of body color and a nice stylized grille. Now with the slippery conditions we had, of course we would have loved to have all-wheel drive, but instead we had decent grip in this front-wheel drive version. Now what it comes standard with is 17-inch wheels, or the optional 18-inch you see here. Now as for the radials, we came with Performance 225 45s, and it gave decent grip. And again, when you're driving a non-all-wheel drive vehicle, of course slow and steady was the key. Now up front we really liked the headlight design, gave it its own unique approach, and had plenty of illumination. Now if you upgrade, you can get the auto dimming sensors, which we do like as well. Now, have you ever been in a luxury vehicle and had maybe anemic power, or in some cases way too much? Well, in this case, the ES350 had exactly what I thought it needed, most specifically a 3.5 liter V6 engine. It delivered around about 260 horses and 248 foot-pounds of torque. Now, what did that mean all at the end of the day, mainly when it came to boot, scoot, and boogie? Well, I felt it was fairly decent, going 0 to 60 in 7.1 seconds, and when you didn't do that, you had decent fuel economy. Now the ES350 driver can tailor powertrain response and other settings to suit conditions or the mood. Eco mode adjusts engine responses and climate control settings to help maximize fuel economy. Sport mode sharpens the throttle and transmission response for a more engaging driving experience, while normal mode is designed to provide an ideal balance of performance and efficiency. Now overall, when you look at fuel economy, you're going to average somewhere between 21 and 31 miles per gallon, falling right in the middle if you keep it pretty average. One design feature that most manufacturers really don't worry about could be the rear end design, because heck, they worry about what people see coming, not what they see when they pass by. But here on the ES350, that coupe styling really sweeps here to the kind of modest rear deck lid. All the rear haunches tapered in and makes for a kind of a narrowing here at the back end. No oversized kind of backside here at all, and better yet, that shark fin that really encompasses a satellite radio. Now with luxury comes other amenities, and most important has to be the smart key system. We talk about it all the time, really allowing you to leave this key in your pocket and forget about it. Now of course that means you get to any door, it's going to open right up, and better yet, come back here, press the button, and the rear deck rises with ease. Now when you look at the overall numbers, this vehicle comes in quite lengthy, and what that means is great interior volume and of course cargo space. Now by the numbers, it's going to be just over 15 cubic feet, well within reason this kind of segment, and gives you a lot of offering on the inside. One thing you always got to think about with any vehicle is backup awareness, and really the ES350 kind of covers the basics. Now what you have of course are the backup sensors and a backup camera. Now even better, the same technology is up front as well, really kind of in a radar like system, really allowing you to kind of get in those tight spots within millimeters to spare. Now even better, with all this coupled together, you also combine that with the cross traffic awareness. Now of course when you're backing up, it's going to know that the vehicle's coming really from your blind spot long before you do. When you see the L on the grill, of course you're going to expect luxury, so when you climb inside, it better deliver, and where it does is in the seating. Now these were wrapped in leather, very enveloping, and were perforated. That really responds to that heating and cooling down system, which we'll kind of show you in a minute. Now one thing about the length of this vehicle is you're going to expect good legroom numbers, and this is really kind of above par, with about 42 inches up front and a way above par 40 inches in the back. Now as for the overall design in the inside the vehicle, it kind of mirrors what you see on the outside. Very simple approach, no chiseled lines, and kind of this wood insert with kind of a brushed aluminum, and really the dash sweeping across with that LCD screen tucked in. And what I see is what I expected. Nice, simple elegance. One of the key features in the design has to be the LCD screen front and center on the dash. Now it's tucked back kind of in a niche. It's not a touchscreen, but what makes it very innovative than the competition has to be the fact that you can separate it into different zones, allowing you to really kind of see different functions all at one time. Now what you're going to use to get around it is kind of a mouse-like device, really kind of navigating your way through the different systems, and really takes a little bit of getting used to, but once you really become an expert at it, it really makes sense. As you sweep down the dash, you're not going to see a digital clock, but more or less the old school analog, really giving that premium quality. Now at the heart of everything, of course, is climate control and the general functions here for the radio. Now this is the volume, the kind of tune select, and these are about the only buttons you're going to use other than the mouse control I just talked about. Now down below is the typical climate control, a little bit of functionality here, and the only thing that's missing in my view is a big knob for the fan speed. Instead, you use the buttons here to go up or down, a little bit more cumbersome to me as you're going down the road. Now with the premium leather seats that we have, what you're going to expect is the heating and cooling down, and that's all kind of on a dial selector here. When you're not using it, leave it right in the center, but if you want to cool down, you go to the blue. Want to heat up, go to the red, and that's of course for the front passenger and the driver. Now even better is the rear screen here. Press that's going to power it up. Now we talked about the economy modes and the different driving modes. That's found right here. Keep it in normal for everyday driving, and really want to save some fuel economy, that's going to be here, and of course your sport dynamic, just dial it in. Now this is the cup holder. Unlike other vehicles, they separate them out. The passenger's way up here and the driver's closer to them. Now looking at the control system for the LCD screen, what you're going to notice is the ergonomics of it. Now you got the center console for your elbow support, but right here you're going to notice you're going to leave your hand pretty much all the time. Now when you need to use the LCD screen, again, this is kind of your main mouse cursor, and really fluid and easy to use going in all directions. Now you're pretty much going to leave your hand here, and since the LCD screen is really up on the dash, it's right there in your viewpoint, you're never really going to look down. You're really going to learn how to navigate your way through this with ease. Now, one area you're going to keep your hand may be on the gear shifter, and what you're going to notice around it is a kind of a black high gloss surface. It shows a little bit of dust, but pretty much when you keep it clean, really kind of contrasts the other leather elements all around it. Now, it is a 6-speed automatic transmission. It does have a manual-like mode, but again, this is not the IS, so I pretty much kept it in the good old automatic version and went down the road with ease. Now, between the front driver's seats is where you're going to find the connectivity. You're going to have 2 USB connections and an auxiliary jack and a power supply. Now, what's great about this is you really can put all the devices in here that you need to charge or connect to the system, and there's kind of an upper tray if you want to have things maybe for easier reach. Now, a lot of manufacturers go into the digital readout for their gauges, but for Lexus, they pretty much keep it straightforward with a good oversized analog tachometer and speedometer. Now, in between, it's going to be a digital readout for some other information, but one thing that was missing was a digital readout for the speed. Now, as for the steering wheel, it wasn't heated in this case, but it had a lot of controls, one for the stereo, volume controlled, and mode select, and also for phone usage. Now, a lot of manufacturers are also putting their cruise control buttons here on the steering wheel as well, but not Lexus or Toyota. They're using a lever kind of tucked down behind the steering, which takes a little bit of memorizing to remember how to use it. One thing that's just as important as the front seat comfort has to be the back seat, because you're going to have a lot of friends that are going to want to ride in this vehicle. Now, again, by the legroom numbers, that's about 40 inches. And what does that really mean? Well, a lot of breathing room for your knees. Now, this seat back is in its furthest position and still a lot of area here, but just in case for even bigger individuals, there's actually these little niches kind of sculpted in to give you just even more space should you need it. Now, for a Lexus, you're not going to want basic comfort, and back here, it all starts with the seat design. Again, carry that enveloping leather from the front. Back here, just the same. What you're going to find is kind of quadrant seating. What I'm referring to is you got the front 2 seats and really 2 situations back in the back, really sculpted in and really enveloping each occupant. Now, what does that mean for the 5th person? Well, they're kind of protruding out just a hair, and this is, of course, going to be for a little bit smaller individual. Now, as for the overall comfort, what I really like is this flip down center console. It's a little bit on the lower side visually, but it is a little bit higher, so you get decent elbow support, and of course you get cup holders right here just the same. One thing you have to sacrifice when it comes to premium has to be the ability to kind of move cargo into the passenger area. Now, what I'm referring to is not that the trunk's not big enough, but really the ability to kind of fold these seats down, because with this luxury kind of design, they just aren't meant to be folded. But one area that will help with this is right here in the center area. And what I'm referring to is the good old pass-through. Now, it's not going to obviously handle a couch or any huge recliner, but what it will do is take those skis, run them right through here, then you can hit the slope. The ES350 offers exemplary safety features with 10 airbags and pre-collision safety system, along with lane departure alert. As in all Lexus models, the pinnacle of audio performance is in the ES350, which comes standard with the Mark Levinson premium sound. This delivers 835 watts playing through 15 speakers. This system brings all types of music to life. That does it for this edition of Road Warrior and our test drive behind the wheel of the 2015 Lexus ES350. Now, again, if it's sport you're looking for or that all-wheel drive traction, well, that's on the IS model. But if you really want luxury and all the amenities you could possibly think of course, this is going to deliver. Now, again, some kind of bonus points on this, really all that interior comfort coupled with that cargo space and not bad horsepower under the hood. Again, getting you 0 to 60 in about 7.1 seconds. Now, as always, thank you for watching this edition of Road Warrior. Keep both hands on the wheel and eyes straight ahead.